What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. Leicester have just beaten Newcastle 2-1. And just over to you, we've got Alex and James as well. So the full squad is back. Really excited about that. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy 2021. Over to you, James. What were your initial thoughts of the match?
I think I said this before. When we play teams that defend deep, I think we're struggling. I think that was evident in the first half. I don't think we were particularly bad. I think Newcastle just sat deep and we struggled against teams like that. They changed their shape in the second half. We were all over them, both halves, I thought. Well-deserved win. And one disappointing thing is every time there's a set play, I get really worried. Because we don't seem to be able to score from them. And every single time the ball comes across the corners, I just see one of their players heading it in. So I think for me, that's the only worry I see today is just set pieces are a bit of a worry for me.
Yeah, I think on the road we've been all right. I agree there. I think we'll get onto the set piece bit in a bit because I've got it down to one of my notes to bring up. But yeah, I think it was in the first half, I think, Alex, we did struggle a little bit to get off the ground, but it was quite positive overall, though.
No, absolutely. For the first, I was pretty happy with the entire match. There was a couple times that we were a little, shaky here and there, but they handled the match the entire time. The possession was there, and just the way that they dictated play. I'm quite happy with this, and I'm really glad that we got the 3 points.
Yeah, the 3 points at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Over to you, Ant, just with your initial thoughts, because in the first half, there wasn't really too much going on. There was a couple of half chances, but offside goal. But it looked like that Maddison, Vardy, and Barnes from the first 10 minutes seemed to link up pretty well. Even though they didn't have a lot of opportunities, them three looked like they're forming a real partnership.
Yeah, and it's one of those, they didn't have a huge impact on the first half, but again, like the key men stepping up in the key moments, and it was pretty poor performance across the team, but to get the 3 points was the main thing.
You see, I didn't think we had a pretty performance. I think Newcastle actually quite decent in this match, James, and they were obviously they're coming from they've lost a few players, which is coronavirus, an injury. And then you're looking at, they've got a 0-0 draw at home, I think, to Liverpool. So to come away with a win, I think, is a pretty good result against them. And to be honest, they played pretty well.
I thought they played all right. I think Callum Wilson's always a threat. I got a bit worried towards the end when Andy Carroll comes on, because you know that Andy Carroll's been brought on for his aerial presence, scored the goal. I think they played all right. I think they struggled a bit. I think if Shelby had started from the start, it could have been a different game, but it wasn't. So overall, I don't think we played badly. I think we just held our own. We stuck to our tactics. Everyone knew their jobs. Overall, I thought it was an okay performance. I thought Tielemans was outstanding. He had a first shaky few minutes, and then he seemed to get his feet. His passing was back to where it was. His visions to where it was, and I think overall, for me, he was man of the match. I just seen on Sky. I think Jamie Vardy got it, but I'm not sure how. I'm honest.
Yeah, we were just talking during the match. I think you mentioned, Alex, that the referee in the first half had more touches of the ball than Vardy did.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. I think all of Twitter during the first half, at least, were just being like, what the heck's going on? Because I know for sure I was like, okay, there's one, there's two, there's 3 touches. I'm like, okay, is he? At one point, I was actually confused because I thought maybe he believed that he was on a professional tryout rather than officiating the match. So once the second half came around, I feel like he kind of got his footing again. I seemed to be tracking him more than I did any other player on the field, though.
Yeah, in the first half, that was the case. Just moving it back to Youri Tielemans. And today, I think, as James was saying, it was just a standout performance all over the pitch. But we've seen in games today where he doesn't play, like the Crystal Palace game, or when he's off form, like the Liverpool game, that Leicester really struggling. But today, with him in the side, he just looked unplayable at times.
He had a decent performance. I think there were moments where he was sort of struggling to keep the ball and giving it away a bit sloppily. But again, Newcastle are a team that won't let you play, kind of thing. So it's to be expected when you play against a team like that he's going to get roughed up slightly and sort of you're not going to be able to see the best of him. But in certain moments,
Oh, I think we've just lost Ant there. So we'll move on to the next person. The next person I've got is the person alongside him, which is Ndidi. So I think one of the issues we had with Mendy coming in, not that it was a massive issue, but when Ndidi came in, there's such a big difference in the way that we play, James. I think he deserves a lot of credit today because he was just magnificent in the middle of the pitch, just clearing up everything. And even going forward, there was times where he was intercepting in the final third.
Yeah, I don't mean it's any disrespect to Mendy, but I think when Ndidi plays, the confidence of the back four gets lifted because they know that there's this rock in front of them, which will help them out when needed. And he also helps going forward. And I think the whole team's confidence lifts. But again, today he was outstanding, passing, tackling. He's always there or thereabouts. And I still think he's probably the best CDM in the Premier League at the minute. He's just been outstanding again today. Their midfielder can sometimes rough it up a bit, but he was there today and just stopped everything. To me, another great performance by Ndidi.
Yeah, we've definitely talked in the past when we've been on Alex previously about Ndidi and how important he is a player to us. But I think he definitely deserves a praise today because it was a great performance.
Yeah, and just like James said, nothing towards Mendy. Mendy is a fantastic player, but Ndidi is on a completely different level. And I think every game that you watch, you can see he dictates play in the midfield, and he's dangerous both on the offense and on the defense, and that's something that you really like to see. And I'm with James. I think he's one of the best right now in the Premier League, especially coming back from an injury that he has come back from. It's truly remarkable.
It really is because again, we won't try and touch much on it because, as people know, we've covered him so much in the past. But I do want to move on to the left-hand side. So we obviously had Castagna and Barnes in this 4-1-4-1 formation, and I think we've touched, James, before that they're not quite there yet. There is some good patches of play. Sometimes they're not reading each other as smoothly as they would, but I think that's a partnership together on that left-hand side that could be really productive going forward.
Yeah, and I think sometimes the ball comes out quickly, and I think we play to our strength when we move the ball quickly. For instance, when we scored the goal, Evans got the ball out to Barnes as quick as he could, and that will come with Castagna. He's not been on that left side very long. He'll learn the way Barnes moves and the way it works, and it'll be a formidable partnership going forward. I'm sure of it. Even when he bombs down the left-hand side, you can see Barnes is dropping off a bit to give him more space. So I think they're already working well together. It will just take a few more games for it to completely gel.
Yeah, and part of that, I think, as well, is Castagna coming back from injury because you can see at times the way he started the beginning of the season, bombing on so quickly down. There's parts of it that are there, but it's not, he doesn't quite trust himself to go the full distance, but with time and patience, he'll get there. Just moving on from, just to bring it back to what James was saying as well, with Evans breaking out from the back, as we were saying earlier, with the partnership between Barnes, Maddison and Vardy, all three of them, after it came from Evans, linked up to get the first goal. And Alex, but I think that was a great goal and a great take because you look at, for example, the Barnes dribble was brilliant. The Vardy hold up play and dribble and getting past players, and then Maddison's shot. I think that combination quite summed up Leicester in 2020, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, I think their communication right now is spot on. The way that they're passing, and you can just see amongst themselves how they're communicating just, between each other as they move up the pitch and, if they have to move back into a defensive, formation. The way that they have been communicating has been absolutely incredible, I think, and that's just improved as the years gone on. And, today was just, that play from Evans, just to get it up and for the Maddison goal, it just shows you how well they're communicating, throughout the team, in every position. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. And one thing I want to mention as well is that even after we got the ball, for some reason, which again, if it was at home and they had the crowds there, Wesley Fofana takes an absolutely speeding run down that left-hand side. I don't know exactly what he was trying to do, but at the same time, it's something that really gets the crowd on side. And I think so. There's that, and I think the Maddison finish, James, was sublime for that first goal.
Yeah, it was. Most players won't even try to drill it through like he did. Would try and pass it into the net, and I think he's done the right thing. I think to me, Maddison looked really, really good today. I know at times I think his confidence is not there. Yes, he's had a knee injury, and you can see that a lot of the challenges he's sometimes pulling out or pulling up because of his knee, and that'll come with time. It's just getting his confidence back. But again, he's been brilliant. He takes players with him, and that goal was just formidable. It's just the end touch to a great move.
Yeah, because it's something that we've been asking for as well, I think, as Leicester fans, where we're very reliant on Vardy. Now we've got Barnes stepping up as well, and Maddison and other players, the goals coming from other places, which is really, really useful. The fact that we only had 3 touches, 3 shots on target in the entire game and got 2 goals is something that we mentioned, I think, a couple of years ago, James, where we talked about we need to be more clinical with the ball and create more chances. However, today, I think we just kind of have to realise that Newcastle were quite good, and we've just got to go back to it and go, we take the 3 points, we move on, because something that we've pointed out before, but as of this beginning of the season, we haven't had that same issue.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a difficult one, the way they're playing at the minute, because you've got all these fringe players that are trying to come in. But the thing I like about us the most is we don't change. No matter who comes into that team, we move the ball quick. We get down the wings. We try to get the wingers in. Again, Albrighton looked outstanding today. He always puts a good shift in, never gives up. And I just think throughout the year, we seem to have got better and better at what we do. Yes, Newcastle were good today. Let's not say they were rubbish. They were good, and we got 3 points. And yeah, let's move on. Next game, Stoke will be a completely different game, as we know.
Yeah, let's hope so. But just coming back to that, want to move on to the second goal. So in the 72nd minute, Tielemans has the absolute thunderbolt of a goal. And when I watched it, I was like, oh my God, Alex, because that was an absolute brilliant goal.
Oh, it was fantastic. When Tielemans is on, he's on, and I think, you know, today especially, that just the goal was spectacular. So I, you know, and that at the end of the day, I'm just glad that, you know, you got it in. You know, that really solidified the 3 points, and kind of like both what you and James are saying. You know, we got the 3 points. Let's move forward. But, you know, I think Tielemans again, you know, played spectacular today.
Yeah, I think he definitely took his goal brilliantly as well. And just somebody that you mentioned, James, as well, with Mark Albrighton and the way he performed today, because again, he ran his socks off. There's a lot of people questioning why he was in the team, but I understood that if you've got a winning team, don't change it. And he works absolute socks off. And that second goal epitomized it, because he ended up getting the assist and getting the ball in a position and playing it over to Tielemans quickly was part of the reason why we got that second goal.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I saw on Twitter at halftime a lot of the Leicester fans are asking for Albrighton to be pulled off, and he wasn't really doing much. He has a job to do. I think he does that job really, really well, week in, week out. The only thing I'd improve about Albrighton is sometimes he doesn't look up when he swings a ball in, and that's about it really. Again, he had a job to do. I thought he did really, really well. The way he picked out Tielemans for his goal, most people would have just tried to drill that in low, but he picked him out superbly, and Tielemans did the rest. But again, I think Albrighton, people don't look at the way he defends as well. I think the way he tracks back and his defensive qualities are as good as his attacking qualities at time, and I think it's perfectly worked on there. You've got Ricky P coming back. That's going to be an almighty decision that Rodgers is going to have, but it's not a bad decision, is it really? Because you've got players on the pitch that are performing, you've got players off the pitch that can also perform. So I think it's only good for the future.
Absolutely, especially with Sionchu coming back as well, because it's not like you can slot James Justin into that number 3 back position, because Sionchu is better in that position. But it's just one of those things that's just slowly coming. And just on that today, I know that we've mentioned a few players, but the back line as well deserve a lot of credit as well. Evans, Fofana, Justin, and Castagna, especially the pairing in Evans and Fofana today, Alex, was they worked so well together, and there was a lot of times where opportunities were sniffed out by when Callum Wilson was on the ball. I was thinking, oh God, here we go again. But them two just seemed to pick apart and play with absolute confidence today.
Yeah, Evans and Fofana have been absolutely spectacular, and I think, you know, you got to give credit to Evans, because I think Evans really is the voice of that back four, and he's definitely helped Fofana, you know, improve and grow as a center back. You know, and then you add both, you know, Justin, and you add Castagna in there as well, and I think just the way that they've been able to shut down any offensive chances from opposing teams has been fantastic, because we've seen it not only in this game, but we saw it in the Man U game. We saw it in, you know, we've seen it in pretty much every game, and they've been able to, you know, target their man, shut down the play, and move it forward. And I think that's hats off to Evans and Fofana. But I've been highly. I love the fact that Evans is in the lineup and they keep him in, because you see the games that he's not in, that back line seems to be lost. He's that voice, he's that leadership in that back four that I think this team really needs. And I think a lot of people on Twitter have been saying, "Oh, when when Soyuncu's fully fit, we'll pull Evans out." And it's like, no, I don't think that's wise at all, because he is that veteran presence that back four need.
Exactly. And just on that, obviously, he signed a 2-year deal, keeping him to 2023, James. And I think that's a win all round for the January transfer window, and also to keep one of our best players at the club, because at times we've always mentioned that Johnny Evans is really underrated.
Yeah, and I've said before, if you sell Evans, that back four falls apart. When he plays with Soyuncu, he tells Soyuncu where to go, he positions him, he commands that back four, as does Schmeichel. Same with Fofana, he tells him where to go and his positioning. It's like Hughes did when we won the league. He was that back four general that told people where to go, help them with their positioning, help with their cover, and that's what he does. I think if you lose him, then you kind of lose your backbone through the team. And I've seen loads of people saying that he should be dropped, it should be Soyuncu and Fofana, but I think if them two play together, they've both got a lot of mistakes in them. Where even Evans today, he gave away a foul. I think the last 10 minutes, it probably wasn't a foul. He doesn't complain. He just goes back to where he should be, sets the back four up again, and he goes again. He's amazing. He reminds me now of when he was at Man United. He's back to that level, I think.
Yeah, which is really good to hear. We had Ali from the Pride of South London Fan TV on, and he was talking about the Gary Cahill is exactly the same for him, and how the fans were all rating on him, going, "Oh, he should be out of the team. He's a bit old." But it was the coaching role that he's really good. That was really great about him when we compared him and Evans and a similar position. I want to go back to one of the players that kind of didn't have, again, we're saying it pretty much the same thing every week now, but Jamie Vardy didn't have a lot of touches on the ball. However, what he did today and the chances he did create, he didn't put a couple wide. It just didn't seem to go for him today. But then he hit the post, and that just seemed like the opportunity, Alex. But again, I don't think he'll be too disappointed. He knows what he's in the team for. They gave him the opportunities, but it just didn't seem quite at his best today, did he?
Yes and no. He did miss some opportunities, but he was also the one that passed the ball over to Maddison to get the goal. So I think one of the things that he's doing this year, and a lot of teams haven't really noticed it yet, is that instead of him going for the shot, he's becoming a playmaker in his own way at the same time. He's looking for the open player, he's looking for the open man, and if he can't see any, he'll take the shot. But there's been times, I think, across this entire season where he could have easily taken the shot and gotten a goal, but he's decided to pass it back to an open player who's capitalized on that. So I think, he didn't capitalize on the shots that he took, but he was still extremely critical in today's win. Without Vardy and the way that he performed, I don't think he'd win. I think he'd probably get a draw in this situation.
Yeah, and it's something that we've been talking about for a while, James, and we've talked about it with obviously Rob Tanner as well, with the whole Jamie Vardy problem, where he can't come out of the team because he can't really bring somebody else in because he's such a clinical part of that clinical part of the team. Another person that's again becoming a solid starter, 10 out of 10, is Harvey Barnes. Again, we're seeing him really turn into a number 7 at the moment, kind of getting the ball, driving in the middle, and he deserves to be in that team. And again, he was lucky. He was at times when Jamie Vardy is taken out of the game, Harvey Barnes is really stepping up and showing his responsibility and go, right, give me the ball, I'll try and put it in the back of the net. And we've not really seen that so far. And as I was saying to Alex just off camera, he's actually matched his total number of goals last year. So the future definitely looks bright for him, and is definitely the player that we've needed, as well as Vardy, to get that 10 goals a season.
I think you're right. I think with Harvey Barnes, and I saw this stat the other day, and I thought, is that right? I think Harvey Barnes has scored more field goals than Jamie Vardy this season. Because Vardy scored a lot of penalties, and I think that's a great stat for him. Every time, even the goal, you saw how fast he breaks away. Yes, his decision making is a bit dodgy at times, but it was worse last season. He seems to have improved so much, and every single time I see him play, he just improves. And by the end of the season, I'm pretty sure that he will be in that England team for the Euros, because he is that player that he might not be in the starting 11 for them, but I think he should go. And it'd be a great experience for him. And he's one of them players that I can see he's got a huge future going forward.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Gareth Southgate doesn't have the best chance of picking non-top 6 players, but I'm really hoping with the stats that he gets that he will get the opportunity. Just finally, since that was over, obviously we want to get onto the bad bits. Obviously, Andy Carroll scored, and again we conceded from a set piece. Something that I kind of wanted to touch on. I know James touched on it earlier as well. Is this something that we've got to look at again? Because Alex, because we've not conceded in a while, but still it's something that we need to be aware from, because today we didn't really take our chances going for set pieces, and today defending set pieces, as James was saying, I did get nerves, especially in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think you got to keep working on them. Like, I honestly think set pieces is our kryptonite. I don't know why, but every time, there's an opportunity for a set piece, we got to defend against it. It's absolutely nerve wracking. And, we gave up a goal on one today. And I think the last 10 minutes for me, I was much more nervous than I've been in the last 10 minutes of any game for a while, it seemed. But it's something that they got to keep working on. And they have to, it seemed like it improved when we had the corners. It seemed like we were improving, and we had a couple missed opportunities that were, a player wasn't in the right position. And it seems like they're getting, they're kind of getting the hang of how to, do the set pieces when we're in our offensive zone. But I think we really need to focus in on while we're defending them, because they just seem off, and they just seem like they're going to give up a goal or make another mistake here and there. And that's something that I think is to worry about, because we've seen it for far too long.
Yeah, just get your thoughts on that, James, as well, because we've been talking about set piece for a while on this show.
So the way I see it, and I had a conversation with Rob Tanner about this, is around Leicester City's zonal mark at set pieces. And if you're attacking, zonal marking's the best thing ever, because all you do is run between zones, and then the defenders don't know who's picking who up because you're running through zones. Whereas when we won the league, we'd man-to-man. So you'd have 2 people on each, one on each post, and then you man-to-man mark at corners, and you know who your man is, and you pick them up, you get goal sides. But I think zonal marking doesn't work. That's my personal preference. I think if you go man-to-man, you stop that at corners, because you block your men, you know who you've got. I just think zonal marking doesn't work. I think Rodgers did it at Liverpool, and I don't think it worked there either. So it might be a chance to change to man marking rather than zonal.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that. I think there is a combination at times, but I'm still not I'm not sold on the whole zonal marking. Finally, today, obviously, after winning, we've got the man of the match. So I'm kind of, again, there's a few of them for me, but over to you, Alex. Who was your man of the match today?
I have 2. The 2 that I'm kind of going back and forth with is Tielemans and Albrighton. Tielemans, fantastic game-winning goal. But Albrighton just was everywhere he needed to be today. He was clinical in the offensive zone. He was clinical in the defensive zone. And anywhere he moved, he seemed to be right where he needed to be. And, the Tielemans goal wouldn't have happened without Albrighton there. So to me, he's been getting a lot of slack, especially, it seems like it's been every game that he's been playing. But I think he's the man of the match today.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm looking at a few players as well. I think even Fofana today deserves to get a mention for the man of the match, and obviously Evans as well. But over to you, James. Who was your man of the match?
For me, Yuri Tielemans. I think it's the first game that he's played well with Maddison. Maddison pushes forward and Tielemans has to sit deep. And it doesn't seem like Tielemans' best position for him. But today he just ground it out. His passing was to its best. His positioning was back to his best. And it's great that they found a way to play them both together. So for me, Yuri Tielemans was hands down man of the match.
yeah, for me, I've kind of got Tielemans as my first man of the match, then Albrighton, and I put Barnes in as well because I thought he was quite impressive. And then, but again, it was just a good overall team performance. There wasn't really that many standout players. Again, in Diddy, just for his performance and his work rate, deserved a mention as well. But for me, I think I'll have to go with Yuri Tielemans because of the way, also, as you were saying, Alex, the way he took that goal. And we've seen it more and more this season where Yuri Tielemans is getting into positions and he's actually commanding a lot more, and he's going, right, give me the ball, point here, I'm going to get the ball, and he's playing some brilliant balls over, and he's really taking that position as the central midfield player and just running with it at the moment.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Just before we go, guys, I've just got a question for you both, which has been really annoying me all game. Anybody understand this new offside rule? Because it used to be, if you're offside, it gets flagged instantly. Now they seem to let play go on, let people score, and then say, well, it was offside. I just don't understand why it's changed.
I have no clue what's going on. Because I was in the same boat as you. Like, I was like, okay, if they're offside, it gets the play gets blown dead. And what I've been watching over the last couple of games, not only Leicester games, but if I just turn on another game, it just seems like they need to really, sit down and figure out what the actual rule is, because it seems like there's times that it gets blown dead right away, and then the play can go on for like a minute before they're like, oh wait, no, he was offside. I have no idea what's going on. I think they really need to sit down and figure out what the heck it is.
Yeah, it's just the game today. I think Yuri Tielemans slipped in the box in the first 10 minutes. And Jamie Vardy was clearly offside. And it doesn't get flagged till the ball goes out of play. And I just thought, well, that's a waste of time, because 3 of our players have ran 30 odd yards to get to the ball when you could have just stopped it. So it just seems a strange rule to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. And also the offside rule has been completely inconsistent. Sometimes it's worked in our favor and other times it hasn't. But overall, I'm just I'm not sure what's quite going on. And it was supposed to be the bottom of the shirt sleeve, but then that doesn't make sense because you can't score with that part of the body. So the offside rule at the moment is just weird. But yeah, just like to thank you both for coming on. Obviously, and thank Anne as well. I think he's gone, but he's having some internet issues as per usual. But he should be fine, and we'll be back for the Stoke game at the weekend. So really looking forward to that. So make sure you follow us all on social media. I'll put Alex's stuff in the description as well as James as well. And we'll see you all in the next video. So goodbye.